What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rimworld. Now, I have a confession to make. I've been trying to play a little bit of this offline, and the reason I did is because I was trying to get us to a point where we're past the situation where we wound up having that raid by those bots that destroyed a bunch of stuff. I was trying to get us caught up from that, build all the crap back up because I I know that's pretty boring shit to watch. Not that most of this is actually very fun, I suppose, because I'm not like one of those normal YouTubers that winds up, cutting towards all of the fun stuff to watch and everything like that. And that's partly by design because I always told myself that I didn't really want to like get super involved in this YouTube stuff. But anyway, we'll just kind of roll with it, man. Let me kind of position this camera a little better here. There we go. All right. Okay, so where we left off is here. So I summoned some of those. I wish I could figure out how to pronounce these things. These let me see here. Well, see now it's. Hold on. Let me pause. I'm trying to these things. Apocryton. I don't. Help me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, man. But I think it's apocryton. say that 7 times fast. Anyway, I summoned one of those. I think it was about 1 or 2 episodes ago, and they took out a bunch of stuff over here. And as you can see, I've rebuilt the geothermal. That's built back. We've got basically our slug turrets rebuilt, the wind turbine, and one of the solar panels that was destroyed. And we also had some slug turrets over here that were destroyed too, but we're beginning to finally bounce back from that now. And I'm still just kind of waiting on another orbital trader because I can't remember the last time I've seen any of those come around in my orbit. I mean, it has literally been like, I don't know how long, man. It very well may be about 20 years now in game that I've seen since I've seen one of those things in orbit. And I keep waiting on one of those because I've got so much stuff that I want to sell and offload. That just, that's kind of the main goal right now for me, is to just sell some shit, man. That, and I guess just keep taking on those apocrytons whenever I summon them, because I'm still investing in these atomizers. And the guys from Kush or whatever they're called, they still haven't invaded me yet or tried to raid me, which is kind of surprising. Usually they do it by now. Talking about these guys over here. And for anybody who hasn't watched my videos, I've got a little bit of a rivalry going on right now with these people because I keep dumping my waste packs over here. And I'm not doing that as much because I finally have some of those atomizers built. I don't know how many I've got now. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess 4. I've got 4 atomizers right now. I don't know how many I'm trying to have though, but it's a pretty good amount. But because I don't have to jettison my waste packs as often, I guess that might be one reason they haven't tried to raid me yet. So anyway, man, we're just kind of riding things out, seeing how stuff goes, and I might wind up bending at some point and deciding to go down here to these guys and doing an on-foot trade at some point. What's this? Tundra? Okay, I guess that's why that's got a different color there. So anyway, that's where we are, man. Just kind of riding things out. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. Good day. Here in Indiana, man, there's not really a whole lot to mention. Weather's looking really awesome. We've had some really beautiful weather this past week to week and a half. It's been like mid to high, I don't know, I'd say mid 50s all the way up to about mid 70s for the past week and a half to 2 weeks. There's been a couple little days here and there of a little bit of a rain Nothing major though. There's one day that I took my car into work and it got caught in some freaking hail. Thankfully, it didn't hurt it, man. And I got really close up to the paint, you know, to make sure that there weren't any dents or dings or anything like that. And there was only one spot that it looked like could have been from hail, but it also had some past paint correction too. So I think it might have been just some old paint that kind of began to wear off. But after correcting that, and that was really super small too. So after correcting that, everything was hunky dory. Thankfully, lucked out, man. I freaking hate hail. It's one of my biggest fears whenever it comes to my car. Let's check out the wildlife. All right, so we've got a turkey and a hare. All right. I don't know if any of you guys are into UFC, but we've got UFC, what is it, 327, I think it is, going on right now. Got that on a different monitor. It's muted. I might wind up doing some of those kinds of, like, you know, watch parties with that. At least from, you know, from the standpoint that I guess the camera would be on me, but on a different monitor, I'd have the fight on. I don't know. Thought about doing stuff like that. I've started to try to do stuff like that with my political streams whenever there's like a political event or something going on. Not surprisingly, nobody ever watches it with me. I can't help but laugh at it because I know that politics isn't a big thing with most people, and man, I don't really blame people. Everybody anymore is so screwed up whenever it comes to politics. We all want our little tribe to win and stuff, and yet sometimes whenever we wind up rooting for a tribe, we wind up seeing how the tribe betrays us in some way. I don't know, man. All right, we got a fist fight or something going on here. I don't really worry too much as long as nobody loses limbs or starts worrying about death. Most of the time, these people stop fighting before it reaches that point. Come on, guys. Settle down. Alright. So now, she can rescue him. Or is it a her? Yeah, her, I mean, I guess. I've really been lucky lately, though, in this game, man. I don't really know what it is, but I haven't had any plagues. I haven't even had any crop blight, which is really rare for me, because usually one of those things happens. Now, watch it happen now that I've mentioned it, you know. That's just the way it goes in my world. I'm the kind of guy that winds up saying something like, well, you know, we've really had some great weather lately, and then like a minute later it's downpouring. But man, everything's really been going super smooth for me in this colony. And I think that's the reason that I keep playing it, man. It's like I've managed to get past that phase of this game when the AI is constantly bombarding you with shit. It's not been any plagues. There's not been any, like, volcanic ash issues or raid after raid after raid. You know, it's just been smooth sailing. And I kind of like that myself, you know. But on the same hand, too, I'll admit that sometimes it can get a little boring. Because if it's going too smoothly and it's too easy, then it begins to, I guess, get a little boring and monotonous, I guess. But I can't really say that it's been like that with this colony for me, specifically. Excuse me, because whenever it does get kind of boring, or I get to a point to where I'm like not worried about anything, I just summon one of those apocryphons, and that fixes it. Okay, so Oski needs a weapon, I guess. What's he doing? He's tending to Suri. I think what we'll do is, once he gets done doing that, we'll have him come over here and pick up a rifle. And Oski's not bad as far as shooting's concerned. He's not one of our best. He's He's not bad, and he's one of our main night owls too. So I want to make sure that he's got something. But yeah, playing this game as long as I have. Let me turn up the volume a little bit on here. On the game, I mean. Let me see here, master volume. Hopefully you guys can hear this, because I know that whenever I'm sitting here watching stuff like this on with other players on YouTube, I like to hear some of the stuff. But playing this game as long as I have, being as late or as old as this colony is, one thing I've definitely become convinced of is the fact that the older your colony gets, the less frequent things like orbital traders are. Now, granted, I'm using one of the well, I'm not using the latest and greatest version of this game, so I don't know if they've tried to rebalance anything with that or alter the frequency of orbital trades or traders. I think from what I remember reading in the release notes, one thing they have in the latest release is the fact that you can summon orbital traders, which I think is pretty awesome. But in this version that I'm currently playing on, though, you can't do that. And so you've got to kind of wait it out and stuff. And it really gets frustrating because you'll build up, like look at me, for example, down here. I've got so many skins and furs and things like that that I'd love to offload a bunch of that shit. And I've got a shit ton of chem fuel too, but I depend on that. And I'm never going to start selling that stuff unless it winds up reaching to a point to where it's like needing to be stored like in the yard or something, you know. But it hasn't ever gotten to that point yet. But I just have a bunch of stuff that I'd love to sell, and I just can't really do it because I hardly ever see traders in general come around anymore. Even the guys that are on foot. And those guys come around more often than the orbital trades. But man, this week has been kind of chaotic in my life. Between work and everything else. Today I slept in tonight, or today, until 1 o'clock. And I'd never do that, man. I was just exhausted. It was nice to be able to sleep in. This is a bow. I didn't realize that was out there. I don't know where that came from. At some point, I'm probably gonna let the male and the female boomalopes mix for about a day, because I've lost a couple these past about 10 years, I think it is. Nothing major, and I'm still producing a shit ton of chem fuel, as you can tell. But I like to keep my boomalope numbers at kind of like a consistent amount, you know. And I think I lost one from something like, what was it, dementia or something like that. And then I think there was another one that, what was it? I can't remember if something happened to it. Oh, I think it might have been struck by lightning or something. Something really stupid. And I lost that one too. So there's been at least two that have been killed. So I figured if I can get a couple of them to mate and then replenish those two, that I'd feel better about that. It's not that I really need them or anything, it's just, you know. As you can see, we bounced back from our steel. Still not as high as what I'd prefer, but it's much better than what it was, because at one point we didn't have any. And that's one reason that this stuff over here lasted as long as it did when it was being built. Yeah, man, we're looking pretty awesome right now. Everything is smooth sailing. So, you know, I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to wait for these traders anymore. I'm going to go ahead and be proactive here. So, let's do this. Let's go ahead and arrange a visit with these guys down here. Let's go ahead and form a caravan down to there and then back. Alright, so that's about 4 days round trip. And what I want to do is take Gabs, because she's... I think I've got maybe 2 other people that can trade with those people, but whenever I go on these trips, I always try to take Gabs just to be sure that I've got somebody that I know can trade down there. Let's see here. Where is she? There she is. Okay, so Gab. Vic be a good one. Somebody that's decent at shooting. I'll take, well, yeah, I'll take Nabs. Why not? There's Nabs. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna take Lila. I think is her name. There she is. She's not good at shooting, but, well, yeah, I don't know if I really want to take her. We'll take Mullins. And now we'll take 2 of the kids. Take, yeah, we'll take Clark and we'll Bennett, I guess. No, let's not take Bennett. Let's, Ola, maybe. Yeah, we'll take Ola. Okay, so that's 4 people. Gabs, Clark, Ola, and Mullins. Okay, so we want 4 horses. Let's see here. Let's take some stallions. Here we are. 4 of these. Okay, and I'm going to take 8 yaks. And the reason being is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shit ton of those furs and things down there. Okay, good deal. All right. Let me see here. Actually, let's take care of the travel supplies first. Let's do this. I'm going to take... I'm never really completely certain how much to take of stuff like this. Let's go with 400, I guess. Hey. Excuse me. And I don't want to take those simple meals because those things have a tendency of going bad. So let's take some of these survival meals. Let's take, I guess, 150 of those, which is probably overkill. we'll take some rice. Take 200 of rice. Okay, so there's that. Now, medicine. I think that's okay. Well, hold on a second. Let's take 5 of those, and if we have any glitter world, which it doesn't actually look like we have. So that's going to be one thing that we're going to want to make sure that we take. So go ahead and put that back up to 8. I guess we'll stick with that. And we'll go with 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, now we get to the good stuff. Let's take... I would say maybe five grand of these. Take all of the lizard and the other weird ones. Pigskin, bird skin, the hyperweave and the devil strand and the Sith reed. I try to keep for myself. We'll take 1,000 of these. Blue fur, we'll take 1,000 of those, I guess. Camel hide, all. Panthera fur, all. Heavy furs. Actually, no. I don't know, man. We'll take 100, I guess. But look at those. Rhino fur, all. Guinea pig. Muffalo, let's do 2 grand of those. Bison, 2 grand of those. And sheep, say 500 of those. Everything else we can just kind of, I don't know, pack up and I guess, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm beginning to kind of wonder if I should maybe make some trips to local, some of the mining sites on the way there. Yeah, let's go ahead and try to do that. So if we do that, that means then that I want to try to pack up some of these things. Let me see here. Because with this stuff, I always try to take some stuff that I use to make the trip a little easier to deal with, like tables and chairs and things like that, you know. Go overboard with it, but I try to provide basic furnishings because it makes things kind of easier on the people that are going. Let's see here. There's some clothing too that I could probably sell. Get rid of that stuff. Once it reaches around 50%, I try to get rid of it. Because this frees up a lot of room in my storage. Here we go. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff that we can get rid of. It's going to be probably about 2 days of packing things up, too. Considering how much I'm loading up here. that because it's poor. Hopefully they have a bunch of stuff down there that I can kind of get rid of all this through. That's always kind of a concern, you know. You never know what they're going to be able to sell you. Okay. I think we'll roll with this for now. All right. Now on our way back, maybe we can hit this one up. Hit this one up. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm beginning to kind of wonder if maybe I should swap someone out. Because I've got one person, it's let me see here, is it? It's not Omar. It's one of those mole people, you know? Terrified. Well, she's getting over a pregnancy, so actually I'll pass on that. Yeah, we'll just kind of roll with what we've got here. That might have been Vilma's. No, actually, that's correct. That's the one bad thing about these fights that these guys get into. Whenever they get into a fight, they always drop their weapons. Oh yeah, baby. Getting things ready. And I'm glad they're moving. I'm glad they're pinning them up right here. Staging them. Because that ought to make moving the furs and any of the old clothing that we have a little quicker. At least I'm hoping. Be right back. This is the thing that bothers me, and this is just a bad game design issue. I think whenever they do this, they basically stand there and start wandering around, which doesn't make any sense. You know, it's just stupid. It's like, why are you sitting there wandering around? Go pack some shit up. Go grab some stuff, man. Jesus. One thing I just noticed about her too, though, is that she's got a few slots here for more mechs. I wonder if that's because I don't know. I must have tied her to stuff. Uh-oh, what's going on here? All these little assholes. They always do this. Okay, who's... I hate it when they do this, man. That's another thing about this game that I've noticed. At least with my colony. Maybe it might not be a game thing, but rather a colony thing. The children in my colony always wind up coming into these places that are like this, my furnace rooms, and they'll pass out because they wind up having heat strokes and shit. And it pisses me off because it's like, why are you doing this, you fucking idiot? You know, it's like, wait, you know what's going to happen. Aren't there any other places that you can hang out? God. You'll be okay, though. It takes a little bit of time for him to... for the kids to cool off, I guess. I'm gonna put them in here. Maybe not cool off faster. I don't want you to do that. There you go. All right. Stupid kid. Ooh, what do we got here? Oh, that kind of sucks. And you're, okay, so that place that we're already making a caravan for is wanting 4 hand talons. Oh, they only would have let us know beforehand. I'm not gonna worry about it, man. Screw it. Those rewards kind of sucked anyway. Come on, guys. Do this. I'm beginning to wonder if I need to separate some people. Like, put these guys. What's this person again here? Hold on a second. So, Koyan, I guess he's like, I don't know, even. What are these fucking names that you can't pronounce? Yadikin? I don't know. We need to put, I guess, the Yadikins or whatever, like maybe on the north side of the complex or the colony base, whatever you want to fucking call this thing. Home. But maybe put all of them on the north side, and I guess all of the hybrids or baseliners on the south side, you know? Because then at that point, maybe there's like a little bit of a buffer between these sub-factions of people that are in my colony. They're always wanting to beat the piss out of each other. Because I've noticed that there's a little bit of a like a theme that's going on here whenever these kinds of squabbles happen. I think a lot of it is because the people that I've either converted or re-educated, I guess, from raid parties. 9 times out of 10, whenever there's a squabble like this, it's usually one of those people that wind up getting into like a little squabble with the people that were already here naturally. You know, I don't know if there's like a thing there with that in this game, but it seems to be pretty consistent. Because everyone that I've ever seen get into a squabble, it's almost always like a Yadikin / past raider getting into it with somebody who was a natural native from this colony. But anyway, I've thought about maybe doing that. Like, I'll have the Yadikins or the past raiders up here, and maybe put everyone else like on the south side. I don't know, man. I'm just kind of thinking things out loud. I don't know if that would help or not. I don't think it would hurt. It'd be a little bit of a chore, though, getting everyone arranged. I might do that one time, or at some point. Another thing I'm thinking about doing, maybe, and this would be in the far future, is making it to where I create a hitching spot right here in the center of my colony, and like building like a hallway that goes directly out, north, south, east, west. You know, but I don't know if that would help things or make things worse. I just know that every single time I've read anything on Reddit or anywhere else about Rimworld and trading caravans, they always try to claim that putting your hitching spot in the center of your colony somehow makes things easier to do whenever you're hitching something up for a trip. So I don't know if that would help or not. Because I would like to think that that depends a lot on where you store your shit. Because if I was to do something like that, let's say my hitching spot was right here in the center of my colony, that would mean then that they would have to get all of the yaks and horses and everything else, hitch them up right here, and then start making trips all the way out here to this, and then all the way over here to get all the shit and then pack it up. As to where with right now, everything's right down here, and they just have to make quick trips over here and then over here to load it all up. So I think a lot of it depends on how you organize your base or your colony. I don't think there's any two colonies that are designed the same way that would benefit from some specific model. But it's looking like our armory is beginning to kind of build up a little bit, which is good. So we've got a little over $2,000 worth of, let me see here. We've got a little over $2,000 of steel. We're a little low on our components, but nothing to panic about. Because I've got my component development up to around 500. I think max. Yeah, 500. So we need to build that back up a little bit. Because at some point I'd like to have everybody have some level of armor. And I haven't been able to do that because I'm always worried about components. Oh, and by the way, little side note. A couple days ago, I cooked chicken's feet for the first time. Let me do a little bit of a thing here. Kind of talk about that real quick. So I made chicken's feet. Okay, I've never cooked chicken's feet before in my life, and the only reason I did it is because sometimes whenever I'm at work, whenever I got some downtime or something, I'll get on YouTube and I'll watch some of those YouTube shorts, you know, the short videos, 30 seconds or whatever less. I don't know what it is. I'm sure there's like a limit. But anyway, sometimes I'll get on YouTube and watch some of those shorts because sometimes what I'll do is I'll get hungry because I'm trying to like lose a little bit of weight because, you know, I've had a little bit of a spurt in my life right now where I've been kind of drinking more than what I should. Nothing you know, nothing weird or anything like that, but just drinking more than I should. And I've noticed that I've gained a little more weight than what I'm comfortable with. And this past week, I haven't drank any. And I think a little bit of the prior week, I didn't drink any then either. So I'm trying to save it for basically like special occasions and stuff like that. And whenever I do drink, it's only like 1 or 2 bottles of like this thing right here. It's called On the Rocks. It's a margarita mix. These things are really kick-ass, man. They're really good and tasty, and I don't think they've got a whole lot of calories. But the thing about alcohol is that it's not just about calories, it's about the alcohol itself, because from what I understand and from what I've read, alcohol has the tendency of dumbing down your metabolism to the point to where it takes longer to basically digest things, I guess, or something like that. Or at least it makes it more difficult for the metabolism to do I don't know, man, get rid of the fat cells or something, you know, and that's one reason that you gain more weight whenever you drink alcohol and stuff. So anyway, I'm trying to kind of cut back on some of that shit, and this is the first drink that I've had in like about 2 weeks. But anyway, the reason, why did I even get on this? The reason I was talking about this is because I've been looking for ways to kind of, you know, eat kind of different foods and stuff that might be more healthy and more tasty. And also just because I love to cook, man. I love cooking stuff. And chicken feet is, I guess, a popular dim sum type of recipe. So anyway, I there was one day a couple weeks ago when I was on the YouTube Shorts and I came across someone that was preparing dim sum chicken feet. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" You know, I'd never heard of anybody eating chicken feet before. I was thinking to myself, initially, I was like, that doesn't really sound very good. But I watched the video and the way the dish was prepared, it really made it sound really good, man. I mean, really fucking delicious. And some of it, I'll admit, was just because I was hungry. Because usually, whenever I eat at lunch, uh, my lunch, in other words, my dinner lunch at work is usually like in the morning because um, it just is for some reason. I don't really know why. What I'll do is I'll normally come into the office, get settled down, drink my coffee, and then I get hungry for some reason. And I've been trying to eat like lettuce and salad and stuff, because I'm trying to kind of watch my weight and everything. So it's during that time when I begin to watch those YouTube shorts and get hungry. And this one time I saw the thing about the chicken feet, and I was thinking to myself, well, okay, so let's think about maybe doing that at some point. Well, one of the local grocery stores that's in my area just so happened to sell some chicken feet, and I was like, well, okay, here's our chance. So I bought some of those damn things, and I don't know, man. A few days go by, and I'm at a point where I'm kind of able to make these damn things and give it a shot. And so one night I decided to go ahead and give it a try. And the first thing that you do whenever you make these things, if you're preparing them for dim sum, that is, you first boil them. Basically, you boil them with some like spring onions and some ginger, and stuff like that. It's supposed to not only flavor the meat a little bit and get it away from the gaminess, but it's also supposed to create a situation where the meat and the skin and everything else that's on there kind of softens up, because chicken feet inherently is tough and it's really gristly and stuff, and you got to be kind of careful with how it's prepared, because otherwise you're just going to be biting in some fucking bone and skin, and needless to say, that's not very appetizing. So the first thing you do is boil them, then you take them out, put them in some cold water for about an hour, and that does stuff to the texture and everything that it's supposed to do. Now here's where it gets dangerous, and by dangerous, no joke. This is dangerous. When you get done letting them sit for about an hour in the ice bath, you take them out, dry them off, and as long as the nails or the claws have been removed, you're supposed to dump them into basically a wok with a decent amount of like peanut oil or something else, a high smoke point oil. And that's when shit gets real, man, because I tell you, I've cooked plenty of stuff in my life that splashes up oil or pops and cracks and shit like that. Never in my life, though, did I ever expect chicken feet to get as fucking dangerous as as they did this night. Because whenever I put those fuckers in the wok, man, my oh my, it sounded like fucking firecrackers, man. I mean, it was really serious, and shit was flying up all over the place. And I had to get one of my like little aluminum type of trays and put it over the wok, because it was literally that bad. And before I did that, man, I burnt the absolute piss out of myself, because there was like a big blob of like peanut oil that exploded, and it landed on my finger. I don't know if you can see this here, not to gross you out or anything, but it's much better than what it was. But there was that right there. And then there's, I don't know, man, I'm not going to be able to probably show it to you, but there's a couple spots on my arm and stuff that got bombed. And that next day, man, there was a big, massive blister where my finger place is, and it's still not completely healed, as you can see, but it's uh, definitely better. But the long and short of it is that you put it in the wok, you cook it, you add some shit into it, sauce, everything else like that goes on with the dim sum recipe that you choose. And then once you're done with that, you put it into a steamer and then steam it for about 45 minutes to an hour, somewhere around there. I think it's more or less, for me, it turned out to be about 45 minutes. And I gotta tell you, man, I never would have thought that I would have enjoyed chicken feet. Fucking chicken feet. You know, who in the hell winds up thinking to themselves, well, I think I'm gonna eat some chicken feet? But I did, man, and you wouldn't really think there's a lot of meat on there, and there isn't, for the most part at least. The chicken feet that I bought, I think they were the Chinese equivalent chicken feet, because there's a difference between the Chinese chicken feet and the American chicken feet, because the American chicken feet have much more meat on them. And I think what I bought was some sort of Chinese equivalent, because these things hardly had any meat on them. But because of how it's cooked, or the recipe that I chose at least, it made the skin and the fatty tissues and what meat that did exist on the chicken feet that I had, fucking wonderful, man. Fucking Michelin star. It was really awesome. Oyster sauce, soy sauce, light and dark, ginger, garlic, thyme. Let me see here. Black peppercorns, I think, if I remember right. Some sugar, water. I don't know, man, and a little bit of salt and pepper here and there. Just what you basically do is during the wok phase or stage, you pour all of that shit in after it gets done crackling and popping, and you stir it all around in your wok, and basically it creates basically the general soy sauce type of consistency that you need in order for that stuff to stick to the chicken feet. And once you get done cooking that stuff, you put it in the steamer with the sauce and everything already on it, and you cook it or steam it for X number of minutes or whatever. And by the time you take them out and let them cool off and start eating on it, that stuff just slides off, and it is so freaking delicious, man. I mean, it is really good. It is gristly, and it has tendons and bones and shit like that you got to be careful with, but all of the other stuff, man, it's just so good. So good. But if you ever cook that shit, man, my God. and I kid you not, man, whenever I was cooking that shit, I was literally wearing my sunglasses because I was that terrified of these fucking explosions and stuff that were going on. It's a wonder that I didn't wind up losing an eyeball or something, because that shit really does get that bad. And I mean, I've never seen anything as bad as that. And I guess it's because of all the water that gets trapped into the flesh of the chicken feet during that phase when it's sitting there in the ice bath or whatever. But just FYI, man, if you ever get out of your shell and decide to cook chicken feet for whatever fucking reason, be so careful, because that stuff is not something to joke about, man. It's pretty serious stuff. So anyway, let's get back to Rimworld here. Wanted to say that though because as somebody who's trying to get into cooking a little more, culinary arts, if you're ever adventurous and you want to try something that's a little different, definitely give chicken feet a try if you're brave enough for it. Just be careful of that oil and stuff, man. It's no joke. Okay, so let's check out the wildlife here. Nothing new there. So yeah, I think this is going to be one of those episodes where I'm just kind of waiting on things to get packed up. So I think this is going to take a while for them to get the caravan loaded. But I remember whenever I started creating this colony, I had it in my mind that I would try to do something in the future where I would try to like conquer the planet. And after going through all this, man, I don't see how anyone is able to do that stuff, because I've seen videos on YouTube where people do that shit, and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe I'll try to do that at some point. And after going through this stuff that I've gone through with this colony, I don't see how they do that, man. Unless I guess they maybe might do that with the those what are they called? The transport pods or whatever they are. Now with the new version of the game where you can make your ship and travel around the globe and stuff, that would be a different situation, I guess. But in this colony, man, I just don't see how I'm going to be able to do that. Part of me doesn't really even want to do that too, so Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I might play it offline a little bit to get to a point to where I'm done loading everything up. But I think for now, we're just going to leave it here. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Staying safe. Staying warm or cool wherever you are. And I'll see you when I see you. Okay? Later.